Tech Sideline is presented by First Bank and Trust Company, the bank that puts you first. They can meet your banking and financing needs for personal, agricultural, business, commercial, mortgages, and so much more. Visit firstbank.com to learn more.
What's up, Hokie Nation, and welcome into episode 465 of the Tech Sideline podcast. Virginia Tech drops an absolute heartbreaker to SMU. Ethan Grunkemeyer is officially a Hokie, and the JMU game is no longer on the schedule. All that and much more coming up on episode 465 of the Tech Sideline podcast, which starts right now. And welcome back to episode 465 of the Tech Sideline podcast, presented by Rich Web. We record on Thursday, January 15th, 2026, from the Tech Solutions studio in Blacksburg, Virginia. Remember to like, subscribe, and refer the show to a friend. I'm your host, Carter Hill. To my left is our lead analyst and columnist, Chris Coleman. Across the way is our senior staff writer, Andy Bitter. Nick Brown, our director of media, is producing behind the scenes. And as always, we are so thrilled you could join us here on your Thursday morning. Guys, we were going to lead off with basketball, but ironically enough, the other day, Chris, we were talking about the worst possible endings in Virginia Tech basketball history. I don't know if yesterday's was in that tier, but the way that game ended, a 77-76 loss to SMU, Boopie Miller hits a half-court shot at the buzzer to win the game. That was a tough blow for Virginia Tech.
It was, and it's ironic. I think I named my top 3 or 4 worst moments in Virginia Tech basketball history. Not, one had just happened the previous week, and I wouldn't have thought that another top 5 moment would happen just 14 days, 10 days?
7 days later.
You're
It was a week to the day.
Oh my
You're
God.
talking about all these games, the basketball gods are like, hold my beer.
Yeah,
Hold on now.
right.
We're going to hit you with something else
Oh my
here.
God. It was, this one was worse because it would have been a quad 1 win on the road. It was worse than the Sean Dockery shot to me.
Really? Okay.
The Sean Dockery shot, like that Virginia Tech team, it was a team that lost a bunch of close games and had talented players. They went to the NCAA tournament the next year, but that year they lost so many close games, they only went 4-12 in the ACC and had no shot to make the NCAA tournament. This team's 13-5. Right? 13-5?
Yeah, 13-5 now, yep.
Right. So would be 14-4 and would have 2 quad 1 wins. Like they would be, if they'd won that game last night, if that shot hadn't gone in, they'd be easily in the field right now. In fact, all their metrics went up after. They would jump like 10 spots in the net after last night's game, but they lacked that quad 1 win. So to me, that's when Lunardi did his little bracketology report yesterday, he had Tech one of the last 4 teams out. And in the note next to Virginia Tech, it says their most significant game since the ACC title game in 2022. That's how important that game was.
It's true, too.
It is true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because Tech, if you win that game last night, you've got 2 quad 1 wins already and a whole bunch of quad 1 wins coming up. If you could just win 1 or 2 more, you're good. The problem is, you've got Duke at home and all the rest of them are on the road, right? So that was a chance to get one, and they had it. And they just half-court shot aside. They missed the front end and one on twice, and then they had inbounds.
They had the ball up 4 with like 8 seconds left, right?
Right. But
You
even with
need
all
to
that,
win that game.
even with all that, SMU had to make a half-court shot to win it, and they made it.
Virginia Tech seems to lose an inordinate number of games on half-court shots, right? It was this one. It's the Miami one a couple years ago. You mentioned the Dockery one. Isn't there another one?
Oh,
People mentioned 4 half-court shots that they remember.
I want to say
like
maybe back around 2011, 2010, something like that. Xavier beat Virginia Tech on a really deep 3. It might have been a half quarter.
This one felt like the worst of certainly the worst of the shots that they lost this year. Wake Forest was a normal shot, just a 3-pointer. It was a tie game. They I think at the time, and they broke the tie. Stanford was a dagger, but it was still it was a deep 3 from a guy who had been just torching them all game. So it's not like he hit the shot and you go, I can't believe he hit that shot. That guy, and that guy just did it to UNC last night. I don't even know his name. Corey, whatever. I'm interested to see where he goes in the draft in the summer here. This one was just like, you had it. You just got to if you make one of those free throws, at least you're going to overtime. If you make both those free throws, it's not even a question. And they did it twice where they missed the front end to even give them a shot. The defense was pretty good on the half-court shot. It's not like he just got a free lane, he got a free look, and it wasn't a difficult shot. He made him go to his left, so he had to like shoot back across his body on it. It was contested. It was close. He didn't foul him. I mean, he misses that shot 99% of the time, right?
Yeah.
He missed 5 free throws last night.
Yeah,
he never does.
Yeah, he didn't have a three-pointer, I think, until that shot. He must have been taken from too close in, I guess. He basically hit a one-outer to hit this thing from half court, and I mean it stinks, but I don't know. That's tough. I don't know what this. It's gonna be tough to pick up the pieces and like get this team focused again and on task after 3 really tough losses like this.
Virginia Tech is bad enough to be 0-5 in the ACC, and they're good enough to be 5-0 in the ACC. Every one of their games have been decided by 3 points or less, or gone to triple overtime.
Yeah.
So if you're if you want to throw Elon in there, when Virginia Tech was down to bare bones, which was the last non-conference games, that's 6 games in a row that have gone down to the wire. Plus the Providence game, plus the Colorado State game,
South Carolina
went to overtime.
Yeah. So like, if you value your mental health, for Virginia Tech basketball is not the team for you.
I was looking back because somebody posted that Miami game, and I thought that was only like a couple years ago. That was the year that they won the ACC, correct?
Yeah, it sparked them. It sparked them.
So they lose that game, and I think that dropped their ACC record to 2-7. And that team turns around, gets things together after that devastating loss, wins the ACC, goes to the NCAA tournament. This team is 13-5 overall and 2-3 in the ACC. This situation, that team was 10-10, I believe, and 2-7 in the ACC, and they came back and they stormed back and got to the NCAA tournament. So if you're looking for a ray of hope in this whole thing, this team has played well. It has played well enough to be 5-0 in the ACC potentially. They're not. They're 2-3, but they're in a much, much better situation than they were the last time they made a tournament run like this, and we'll see how they respond. It all comes down to how they respond. They can sit there and mope and feel sorry for themselves that they lost another one and blew it down the stretch, or this can galvanize the team. You can play better, and there's a lot of ACC season left to do it.
Yeah, it's not a dire situation like that 2022 team, to your point, Andy, but what's crazy, Chris, is I can't believe that Virginia Tech is 4-0 in overtime games with how they are late in the game. I mean, you look at the Wake game was a little bit different, but again, to reiterate, I mean, the Virginia game, that game should have never gone to triple overtime. Right. You're up 4 with 5 seconds left.
It went to overtime because of their struggles.
Right. You're up 4 with 5 seconds left. And then the Stanford game, you're up 12 with 2 minutes left. Last night, again, you're up 7 with the basketball. Or I'm sorry, you're up 4 with the basketball with 7 seconds left and you lose the game. I mean, they're losing some games that are like dang near statistically impossible to lose right now. But again, there's plenty of opportunities left. It just is the way you're losing games. It cannot continue to be a trend if the Hokies are to get to the NCAA tournament.
I wish I was prescient where I could sit there and take screenshots of the ESPN win probability in each one of those situations. Like last night with 7 seconds left.
Well, you can just go to each game. I think it's still up there on the line.
Okay. Yeah.
It was like Virginia Tech 94%, 95. I'm trying to see what the max was on this thing. It was like, it was pretty high.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, they are losing some games. They're just impossible to lose. And, you know, you always hear like football coaches talk about, we're working on situational football. It's like, how much of the next Virginia Tech basketball practice is just going to be situational? It should just be situations at the end of the game and free throw shooting. That's the only thing they should do for the entire practice, is just hammer that home over and over and over, because it makes such a big difference.
Hokies got Notre Dame coming up. Again, plenty of opportunities left. You have 8 quad 1 opportunities left on your schedule. It just is, you missed out on an opportunity last night was the big thing, especially the way you had the game in hand. On to football. Ethan Grunkemeyer, the concern is no longer. He is officially a Virginia Tech Hokie. He did sign yesterday on Wednesday. We've talked about it a lot, Chris, over the last couple weeks, but now that he is officially at Virginia Tech, what are your overall thoughts on him being the Hokie starting quarterback?
Better late than never. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is something we anticipated the whole time. I wrote up the Ethan Grunkemeyer commitment article 2 or 3 weeks ago. Basically, maybe even before he entered the portal. I don't know, but been anticipating this for a long time. You can look at his stats right now. if he completes 69.1% of his passes at Virginia Tech throughout his career, that'll be a Virginia Tech record.
Right.
Yeah. He's just an extremely accurate passer, and that goes back to his high school days. His quarterbacks coach at Penn State, who is now at Virginia Tech, I was going back reading some comments he was making about Grunkemeyer before last season, and he talked about what a good and anticipatory thrower Grunkemeyer is, and that shows up in his film. He's a guy who struggled a little bit at the start. His first couple of starts, one of those was against Ohio State. I believe another one was against Iowa, which is a couple of top 10 defenses right there. He started coming into his own against Indiana, another top 10 defense. He actually had a higher quarterback rating than Fernando Mendoza in that game. Their stats were almost dead similar, and Grunkemeyer had a slightly higher rate ratio. So you could argue that he, outdueled the Heisman Trophy winner in that game. And I think he got better and better as the season goes on. And his two best games were his last two games when I thought he was really, really good. So this is a guy who is good now, and he's got 3 years left. So this is like the best possible scenario, I think, for Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I think he's such a different type of quarterback than what Virginia Tech fans are used to seeing. And I got to ask this morning, like, when was the last time they had like a pocket passer? Like, Grunkemeyer's not going to beat you on the ground.
Right.
I mean, you look at his stats this year, it was negative 46 rushing yards with a touch. Obviously, sack yards are included in that whole thing, but he's not a guy that's going to carry the ball 15 times a game and beat you. Like, who was the last
Wells.
pocket guy? Wells ran more than you think.
That's by necessity.
Yeah,
because we couldn't do anything else.
Wells in 2022 had 212 yards. He had
Right.
6 rushing touchdowns.
Right.
So they still relied on him to do a little bit. Some might say Ryan Willis. Ryan Willis had 354
Right,
rushing
he was
yards in
good
2018. Do you have to go back to Drunkenmiller?
Glennon.
Oh, Glennon. I forgot about Glennon. Yeah, that's
And
true.
Brewer too. Brewer was that type. But though he
Brewer
would run
could
it some
move a
too.
little bit,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
Well, Grunkemeyer, I was watching a little bit of his highlights. He can escape, but he always keeps his eyes downfield. Even when he gets outside the pocket, he still throws it. So, like, he could run it some, although I don't think you want to run the read option with him. But there's times where he gets outside the pocket, and instead of running it, he just throws it.
Yeah, Brewer had negative rushing yards his 2 years at Virginia Tech. So
But
I guess
he could run it.
he could move.
Right.
He was sort of that Texas mindset, though. Eyes up, and I'm going to throw it down the field.
And then
at
that's
some point.
Grunkemeyer, basically.
Yeah.
He's like a bigger Brewer, I think.
So we asked a question the other day. Do you think the holdup was just, I don't want to say cherry on top because there could be more portal commits that come over the next couple of days, but Virginia Tech, it seems like there could have been some contractual holdups maybe. I don't know what the whole deal is there. Is that maybe what the whole situation was contractually, then maybe wanting to hold off on the announcement until maybe later in the process with this whole thing, Andy?
I think it was just they wanted to put a capper on the portal season, and not to say that he's the last one that's coming in. I think they can still get more guys here, especially class hasn't started yet. The portal's not even technically closed, I don't think, until tomorrow. And then you can sign people beyond that. It's just about going in. But without any sort of insider knowledge on it, I would imagine they were trying to just sort of build up to a climax with this class and build some momentum with this thing.
Yeah, that's always been my thought. I've seen some rumors about, like, he signed a 1-year NIL deal or whatever with Penn State, like on January 14th or something last year.
That would make sense too.
That would also, so you have to wait for that to expire. I don't know. It's hard to know without, like, nobody can see those contracts, right?
Right.
So we have no idea. But at any rate, we always expected him.
Yeah.
I've always, like, been thinking about this class, believing that he was part of it already, even though he officially was not.
Do we have anything on the safeties coach, by the way?
No.
Don't mean to. No. Okay. All right.
Absolutely
We'll
nothing.
see. That is the last position to fill full time on the Virginia Tech football staff. So we shall see. We shall see. So something that everybody wants to talk about. This has been widely reported on Tech Sideline for a couple of months, but with the ACC moving to 9 games, there was going to have to be a non-conference game that was going to be removed from the schedule in 2026. That is going to be James Madison. Now, with the adjustment to the ODU series and with the Power 4 requirement out of conference, it was probably not going to be Old Dominion and especially not Maryland. So you're down essentially to removing VMI or James Madison from the schedule. The Dukes will not be on the Hokie schedule in 2026. Is that the right move, Mr. Bitter, in your eyes?
I mean, is it the move I wanted to see? No. Is it the right move for a team that went 3-9 last year and can't just assume any sort of wins next year? Probably. If I'm a fan, I think I'd rather watch a game against JMU than VMI. VMI is a filler game. It's not nonsense. It's not going to be a contest. I mean, VMI's head coach quit his job to come be an advisor on Virginia Tech staff. And this is telling you the difference between these two programs.
So Virginia Tech's going to have a huge X's and O's advantage.
Right. I just hear all these
Great
people
scouting.
it's a rival. It's rekindling a rivalry, the military classic of the South from the, it's like, don't live in the 70s and the 80s here. The times have changed. This is not the same game it was back in the day. So it's an uninteresting game to me, and I don't like watching football games that are just uninteresting and not competitive. And it's true of a lot of these SEC schools will schedule FCS teams, especially late in the year. Mm-hmm. You get like right before the Iron Bowl, and all of a sudden Auburn's playing Chattanooga or something like that. It's like, what are you doing? What are we doing here? Why are we doing this kind of stuff? And from a viewership standpoint, I think a JMU game would have drawn a lot better than a VMI game. So, some people say, outside Virginia, nobody will care. It's like, well, JMU just went to the playoff. Like, there is a little bit of intrigue about this team out there.
You could maybe get an ESPN-U
out
of that. That's better than ACC Network Extra.
What's VMI going to be? Network Extra, probably.
Right.
I mean, who's going to want to watch that game? And the only power that could push that over into being televised is Franklin's first game.
Yes.
But to me, it's just an uninteresting game. It'll be a glorified scrimmage, and I don't prefer to cover or watch those kind of games.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I was embarrassed when Virginia Tech announced the VMI game.
Yeah, it's the other. It never should have been scheduled in the first place.
So it's not a matter of, like, to me, whether it's VMI versus ODU versus JMU. VMI never should have been on there. I'm fine with playing an FCS team every now and then, although I'd prefer not to. I'd prefer nobody do that, actually. I want the schedules as streamlined as possible. But VMI, man, they went 1-11 last year. Their one win came over Ferrum, who was Division II.
Correct. Yep.
Not FCS, Division II.
And just moved up this past year, too, by the way.
Right. So let's see. They lost to Navy 52-7. They lost to Bucknell 35-28. Richmond beat them 38-14. Chattanooga 21-14. East Tennessee State 45-10. Samford 24-22. They lost to Mercer 62-0. They lost to the Citadel, their rival, 35-24. That horrible Wofford team that Virginia Tech beat last year, one of the worst teams I've ever seen, they beat VMI 52-10.
They scored points?
They scored points.
Oh, wow.
They lost to Furman 32-14. They lost to Western Carolina 48-6. All right, there are, like, those Division III teams like Wisconsin Whitewater, they would crush VMI. Right? So Virginia Tech could get more out of playing each other in an organized scrimmage with actual game rules than they could this game. So I'm a little bit embarrassed to be playing it. Now, as far as which game gets canceled and things like that, what we don't know, well, okay, on the surface, yes, I'd much rather play JMU. What we don't know is, did the ACC come to Virginia Tech and say, all right, your 9th ACC game, we really need that to be played on September 26th, right?
Yeah, because otherwise it's Labor Day weekend to kick off the Franklin era. Yeah,
exactly.
I find that hard to believe.
Me too, but
I mean, people are talking about this ACC thing like they just dropped it on them. Like, this was news in September, right? And we heard pretty early on then that they were going to drop JMU at that point. So it's like, well, all the schedules are finalized. It's like, not in September, they aren't. I can't imagine VMI had its conference schedule figured out at that point. I know the ACC didn't have its conference schedule figured out at that point. So I think if they wanted to, they could have made a push to move things around and preserve the JMU game. And I mean, JMU fans are like, Virginia Tech's running scared on this whole thing. And I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. This is the force their hand, 9-game conference schedule dropped on them. They had to drop one game, but the optics don't look great.
No,
if Duke's fans want to sit there and crow about it, I'm not going to be like, absolutely not.
I'd be saying the same thing if I was a JMU.
Exactly. Right.
You've given them this argument. And also, you've extended their bragging rights. They beat you the last time they played you.
Right.
And, this game was supposed to be scheduled originally for 2025. They pushed it back, I think, to do that South Carolina game, which, funnily enough, JMU was better than South Carolina this year. So it would have been more of a premier game to play against South Carolina or JMU this year. But now, they pushed it back initially one year. Now they cancel it outright altogether. No, I don't think Virginia Tech is scared of JMU, but you've lost the high ground on this argument, I feel like.
Yeah, so I think two things can be true. I would obviously much rather play JMU than VMI. But at the same time, is it the best look? No. Should Virginia Tech really care about that? No. And also on top of things too, who knows? I mean, I think this was long in the works before James Franklin was hired. But did Virginia Tech, we talked about this with David Teal, did Virginia Tech really want to play a conference opener Labor Day weekend to kick off the James Franklin era? Because that was the other option. If you leave JMU, you are going to kick off the James Franklin era with an ACC opponent, which could be, I mean, think about the viewer potential at Clemson, Miami, SMU. Does James Franklin really want to kick off his own era at Virginia Tech going to Death Valley or Hard Rock Stadium, do you think?
I think the ACC, they need to lean. They should have leaned into the Virginia Tech Franklin hire a little bit. I need to look at our schedule this year. Oops, sorry, pulled up the wrong one. Future schedules.
Yeah, just in the sense of like, I mean, your home games, you had NC State. Not that it's a huge marquee matchup, but you're okay. Yeah, there you go. It's on the screen.
There we go. Thank you. Lean into the James Franklin era. Give Virginia Tech Stanford at home on Labor Day weekend or something like that. Somebody you're going to beat, right? The problem with that is you start out at home and then 5 of your last 8 are on the road, which, you know, when you have an unbalanced schedule like that, I don't know. I feel like the ACC itself could have been like, oh, wow, Virginia Tech now has the highest profile coach in the ACC besides Dabo. And even Dabo now has dropped off a lot.
I think it's a missed opportunity.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
I mean, this is a chance to showcase the program, catch the James Franklin hire at like the most interest, I would imagine. His opener at Virginia Tech, put them out there in a marquee conference game that opening weekend. I mean, when you have a pretty big game like that, you can set it apart from other ones. You can do it on a Sunday afternoon, a Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night. I mean, every game is open. This is before school starts. And even if school was in, it wouldn't stop them from doing it on these other days. But I think there's so many options there that you can separate that from all the other games that weekend, really highlight it. It does a fantastic TV number. I mean, that South Carolina game propped up Virginia Tech's viewership numbers all year and still does. And if they get a good chunk of payment this year, it's in large part because of that game that was on their schedule. So, you know, VMI, I mean, yeah, it's a win. Yeah, you can sort of dip your toe in the water of the Franklin era, but it's not as cool as playing a real big game and the marketing opportunity for something like that. I think it's like, yeah, you could lose that game, but you could also win it. Right. It could be a great opportunity.
And look, in JMU, they lost a really good coach in Bob Chesney, and you know,
that's the other thing. People are like, oh, you're scared of JMU. It's like, I don't even know what JMU is going to be.
Exactly, all their best players left again.
New coach and a whole new roster. Like, this would be the time you would want to play JMU.
Right. And like, Billy Napier did a great job at Louisiana, but like, I don't think he's anywhere near as good a coach as Bob Chesney. Just my opinion.
Yeah.
But is Bob Chesney as good a coach as Kurt Signetti?
Oh, wow. We'll find out, won't we?
I'm gonna say no.
I'm gonna say no because I don't think anybody else
the top
is
coach in the game right now.
Yeah.
Well, and you mentioned potentially having like Stanford come on Labor Day weekend. Just run back what they did in 2012. You could have Georgia Tech come here on Labor Day weekend. That would draw some eyes. I think.
My God, Georgia Tech's been gutted. Did you see their defensive coordinator just left now?
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
But I mean, they've done that over time. The Georgia Tech, they played a game at BC one year. Mm-hmm. North Carolina, obviously, they opened up the season here one time. I mean, you know, Frank Beamer played Ohio State in an opener at home. Didn't win that game, but still played it at home. You know, they've had marquee openers before, and I just because it's a new coach and a new era, I don't know if necessarily. And again, I'm not saying that they did it because of that. I think it probably was part of the reasoning, but in some logistics as well that go into this whole thing and schedules that couldn't be adjusted. But I just feel like it's a missed opportunity to really, showcase and highlight the program beyond, Virginia Tech fans will be interested, but I feel like there is an interest beyond the state borders that would want to, tune in to see how Franklin does in that first game. And now it'll be against VMI on some nothing channel that nobody will see.
Give me like that Friday night opening season game against Georgia Tech or Stanford or something like that. People would watch that. And then you've got an extra day to get healthy and prepare for Old Dominion also. Like, I don't think not only did Virginia Tech accept from the ACC, oh, you're going to be playing a 5-game road schedule this year in your first year, and 3 of your road games are going to be Clemson,
Miami, SMU.
But they also said, you lose a home game in a year where James Franklin's in his first year as a head coach. Like, what I want to know is, like, did Virginia Tech put up a fight for this, against this? Because I think if they didn't, they should have. And I'm always thinking like a season ticket holder. Let's say you're your average Virginia Tech season ticket holder. You probably didn't know until yesterday that the JMU game was getting dropped. And you probably thought up until recently, 7 home games next year, because that's what it officially was. You bought season tickets in December, let's say. You renewed your season tickets or bought them for the first time. You thought you were paying for 7 games, and now you're getting 6. And I don't think that's fair. And I think Virginia Tech should have fought this tooth and nail.
Okay.
Perhaps they did.
Maybe they did, and we just don't know it.
The ACC, I'm sure they get these kind of requests and complaints from every school in the league.
Right.
Every school in the league is going to say, oh, you're treating us unfairly in this whole thing. And it's like, sorry, we're going to 9 games. This is what the networks want in this whole thing. And they pay the bills. So you kind of go and you play where TV says that you go and play. And when they cut you a multi-million-dollar check at the end of the year, you smile and you cash it and you say thank you.
Do you think there's any shots the JMU game gets rescheduled? They play JMU in Lane Stadium at some point over the next 10 years or so?
Well, they're apparently actually going to play Wisconsin at some point, although the Virginia Tech home game
Don't get my hopes up. Don't get my hopes up.
Supposedly, yeah. Allegedly, they're going to play them. Do I think it can? I've heard some rumors of something like 2030. Maybe they'll put it on there.
Okay.
But
2030 currently has 4 home games, or 4 non-conference games. Arizona, which I can't imagine that stays. At Liberty, which I can't imagine that stays. At BYU, another one, and Old Dominion. So yeah, maybe 2030 makes more sense. They look at the games there on the schedule there. Some weird ones on there.
Strange ones. I'm taking scheduling on a year-to-year basis at this point, because when teams really want to do something, it doesn't seem like anything's stopping them.
Well, they've got Notre Dame in 27 and 28, and we actually don't even know if Notre Dame's going to stay like that, because they might redo the whole Notre Dame rotation. So there's a lot up in the air in this whole thing. And I don't know. I was looking forward to that JMU game. I know JMU was. I imagine some Virginia Tech fans were too. I don't like Virginia Tech fans like, oh, we'll never play them. We don't want to. No, I think they wanted to prove that they're potentially a better team. I don't think it was a certainty. Certainly not this year. I think JMU would have routed them this year. But to have that 2010 game still be the last one in the series, like, it's just sort of hanging there.
I know.
Like, it's just hanging there.
Can you imagine?
Not that it matters, but like, JMU fans could always point to that thing.
Can you imagine if Tech hadn't played South Carolina this past year and had played JMU instead, and they would have lost to JMU and ODU?
Oh my gosh!
Both major in-state,
and Virginia in the same year too.
Well, I think the last JMU, Virginia, ODU, the last matchup that they played with each of those schools, they lost that game.
Yep, that is very sad.
Long way to go for the program to get back to the standing.
Well, and there will be opportunities for future scheduling. Who knows what college football looks like in 10 years? But like, for example,
that's true. The ACC might not exist by 2030. So,
but
what are we talking about?
If you pull up the future schedules on HokieSports.com, everybody talks about the South Carolina series. That's gone. It's not on the website anymore. South Carolina series in 2034, 2035. It's not on Hokie Sports anymore. No, it's not on the website.
Huh. I didn't even notice that until you brought it up.
Which would make sense, because with the SEC going to 9 conference games and 1 out of conference Power 4 school, they play Clemson every year. That series was never going to happen. So there's no South Carolina series on the website anymore. So there would be 2034, 2035. Hey, the JMU Dukes and 10th year head coach Billy Napier want to come to Blacksburg. Let's do it.
Well, I guess the Ole Miss series is still on there.
Ole Miss is still on there. Alabama's still on there.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see.
Anything more than a year out, I wouldn't count on it.
Yeah. All right.
And even stuff a year out, I don't know that don't make travel plans yet. Let's put it that way.
Like whenever there's a scheduling announcement these days, I automatically don't get excited about it, because you just never know whether it's going to happen or not.
Yeah. No, I agree.
When the next year's schedule is announced, that's when you know who you're playing, for sure.
I agree.
When it's actually announced. And so every January, you'll know the schedule. Outside of that, whatever.
And with that, we will step aside and get in a quick break here as we hear from one of our sponsors here on episode 465, the Tech Sideline Podcast.
This episode of the Tech Sideline Podcast is brought to you by Rich Web, your local provider of top-tier IT managed services. For 30 years, Rich Web has offered a comprehensive suite of cutting-edge solutions tailored to empower businesses of all sizes in today's digital age. From top-tier network engineering services, ensuring seamless connectivity and security, to our exceptional managed endpoint and cloud services, providing proactive maintenance and strategic optimization, we're dedicated to delivering excellence at every turn. Rich Web, driving enterprise IT. Visit richweb.com to learn more. Rich Web has proudly hosted TechSideline.com for over 2 decades.
And welcome back to episode 465 of the Tech Sideline Podcast, presented by Rich Web here on TechSideline.com. So thrilled you could join us here on your Thursday afternoon as we continue to trudge on with some scheduling things and the national championship coming up too. And those two things kind of coincide with each other, Chris, because you got Miami, Indiana playing in the national title game on Monday. And again, we talked about, you could lead off the season. Obviously, if the VMI game was no longer on the schedule, you could go to Clemson, SMU, Miami. Now that that's not happening, you could still lead off ACC play going to Miami, which in retrospect could be the defending national champion. So there's another opportunity for the ACC. You get James Franklin and Virginia Tech potentially going to the defending national champion in the Miami Hurricanes. Would you like to see that, Chris, on the schedule?
That's fine. Okay. I mean, it's not a big deal to me. I don't think Miami's going to win, though.
Okay.
So
If I'm a fan or somebody like me covering it, I'd love to see that as the opener. Open the season with a bang. Miami did it with Notre Dame this year, did it with Florida the year before. Alabama a couple years ago. They're no strangers to playing those sort of marquee games in the opener. If I'm a first-time head coach is trying to figure out what he has with his roster, I probably don't want to play the potential national champions in the first game, but it would be a ratings bonanza. I'm saying it would go a long way in that. So again, you're weighing both sides of this thing. There's a lot to factor in.
Could you do it week 0? We're probably past that point a little bit, but could you play at Miami week 0 and September 26th be a bye week?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, people finagle the schedule all the time, and then you get to practice a little bit earlier even to start the season. So I don't know. It's not going to happen. So we're talking about a possibility. It's not going to come into fruition here, but I hope in subsequent years, after they get past this first year, and you can't say, they're trying to ease their way into the Franklin era. I hope once they have this thing humming a little bit, they play some of these big marquee season openers, because those are fun. I mean, how fun was South Carolina? Turned out to be a dud in hindsight. Both teams were not good this year, but how exciting was have that to be the opener, and how much did people look forward to that? Playing that game in that stadium was pretty cool. I think it was a great experience for people who went down there, despite the outcome on the whole thing. And I don't know, it just kind of adds something to the offseason when the first game is something that big. I think you kind of gear up for it a little bit more, other than we'll get ready for it in week 3 or something like that.
Chris, we were talking about this the other day. What do you make of what Miami is doing right now? I mean, you grew up with, Miami at the top of its heyday. Now they're back in the national spotlight in the national title game.
I loved the whole Final Four, because it was 3 teams that were not blue bloods, and Miami. It's debatable whether you consider them a blue blood. To me, they're not, because they haven't won a conference title in over 20 years. So I don't even know if I consider them a blue blood anymore.
They probably got demoted from that status for a while.
That second tier.
They were sort of
just below.
new money blue blood for a while there, because they rose up in the 80s and stuff like that.
Right.
So they're not
but what's interesting, I didn't realize, what is a blue blood? Is Florida a blue blood? Florida never won a national.
Sort of new money too.
They didn't win a national title till 96.
When I think of blue bloods, I think of Notre Dame, Alabama, Michigan. You have to be good in the 50s to be a blue blood, sort of.
So I think I thought the Final Four was great. I think Miami, it's interesting. They could win a national title before they win a conference title, as far as the last 20 years goes. I think that those defensive ends they have will give Indiana more trouble than Indiana's had all season. But at the end of the day, that Indiana defense is insanely good. And I just go back to watching them play against Ohio State. And Ohio State has a lot of talent. And Indiana was just all over everything. They had them so well scouted. They have so many smart players. I think I read something like the average age of their starting lineup is 23 years old or something like that. And
That's not the way people are making out online. They're making out like they're like 29-year-olds, like seasoned veterans of the NFL or something like that. It's like, no, they're still in college.
Yeah. I think Miami has made a great run. I don't think they should have lost 2 games in the regular season, obviously. I think it's going to be a defensive game, but ultimately in the end, I think you've got the Heisman Trophy winner at Indiana and arguably the best defense in the country, and that'll be enough, even though it's going to be at Miami's home stadium.
Did you see this USA Today story on Carson Beck today?
I did not.
It was like, man, I hit rock bottom after leaving Georgia. It's like you were like driving a Porsche and getting paid $4 million, and you were dating a Cavender twin. Like everybody would wish for your rock bottom here, my man. Like, come on now, let's not overstate the situation that he was in here. He had 2 national title rings from his time at Georgia. Like, come on now.
Oh yeah, your cars didn't his cars get broken into when he they got stolen when he first got there.
That's right.
Sounds awful. I'm sure you can get another one.
Also, notice you said cars plural, not singular car. So both of his sports cars were stolen down there. I think this will be an interesting matchup coming up. Carson Beck has played well. I don't know if I trust him in this spot against this defense. And like Chris said, Indiana's defense, I think it kind of gets lost in the shuffle a little bit because Indiana has the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. And you're like, wow, Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, that defense just embarrassed Alabama in that game and really embarrassed Oregon. Oregon lost 15 fumbles in that game. I mean, there was so many that the defense was causing, and turnovers, pick 6 on the first offensive play of the game. I just think this is a really well-coached, well-run Indiana organization, and that's not always the case at Miami. And I've quieted my tone on the Mario Cristobal doesn't know how to coach thing because he's in the national championship game. You got to give him credit where credit is due in this thing. I think he's coached well in these playoffs to get him here, but it's in the back of my mind. I just don't quite trust that. I don't quite trust him, and I don't quite trust Beck in this spot.
A fitting end would be like Miami's winning the game late, and instead of taking a knee, they put it in Carson Beck's hands or something, and he turns it over, and Indiana wins.
Oh my gosh!
Do you think that it's an advantage them playing in Miami?
I don't know that it is. I mean,
I think it almost adds some pressure.
It could.
I mean, they go on the road to beat Texas A&M. They're not on anybody's radar really. They're the 10 seed. They snuck into this thing as the last at large. They go win at Texas A&M. It wasn't a pretty game, but they won that game. They beat Ohio State. Where was that game played? Was that in Dallas?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
So both of them are sort of on the road. They're away from, there's a lot of crazy Miami fans, none bigger than Michael Irvin on the sideline. But, they're also you get back in town and then all of a sudden everybody's around you like that. I wonder if there's just some added pressure that you go and you play in your home stadium. And you can't, the U can't lose in its home stadium, even though it has all the time over history.
Right. I'll be interested to see the crowd split. I don't think most people realize that Indiana just passed Penn State for largest living alumni base.
Yeah, in the country, yeah.
Right.
They're awakened. This is we have to do this. Will we ever be back in this spot? Right. They're not burnt out by 10 years of going to Jacksonville or the Orange Bowl like Virginia Tech fans for a while.
Yeah, I mean, Miami, obviously their fan base, it's a lot of Miami fans, but Miami fans are spread out across the country, right? So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see.
The other side of it, it's sort of like a third one team, a third the other team for allotment, and a third of it's sort of like corporate, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is like a Super Bowl type event where I feel like you're going to get a lot of just, I'm there because it's a big deal, and I'm a big deal, and I'm at this game. Right? Isn't that what the Super Bowl is? You don't really feel like there's a home field advantage for either team because so many people are there just to watch the game, disinterested in the outcome. They just want to be there.
How many times has it happened where one of the teams playing in the Super Bowl happens to play it in their home stadium?
It happened
the Buccaneers.
Buccaneers won the Brady's year.
It was the COVID year, I think.
That was a COVID year.
Yes, it was 2020. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not something that happens very often.
No, it doesn't. But I don't feel like that team won because they were at home.
Agreed. Especially that year.
Yeah. Right. They won because their defensive line just terrorized Patrick Mahomes,
Right.
made him run for his life the whole
Right.
game. So we'll see if Miami can do that in this game, but I don't feel like there's any kind of advantage. The other part that's interesting about this, like Miami is making bank on this playoff run here. It's like $24 million or something like that right now. I think if they win, it's like 32, and they get to keep all that money.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I saw the Miami AD is like, I've sent some thank you notes to the Clemson and Florida State ADs because, their programs are the ones that, stomp their feet about the ACC's unfair practices, and they sued the league, and, we bring more to this league than everybody else. We should get paid like it. Now Miami is the one that's benefiting in the first year of this structure. I think it's kind of interesting, and perhaps, I think the ACC was kind of forced into this situation, and everybody's like, well, that's the death knell from the ACC. And I'm looking at it now and I'm going, is it? Or is this a more attractive place for schools like Miami and Florida State and Clemson if they have their act together?
Or Virginia Tech.
Or Virginia Tech. Look at
Right.
what you can accomplish in the ACC. It's not as much of a supposed meat grinder as the SEC is, even though I think that was proven to be false this year. All those other conferences split up this kind of postseason money. Like the Big Ten, Indiana's sharing that with everybody else in the Big Ten. Miami just gets it.
And is that going to last in the Big Ten with all their dead weight
Oh
at the
no,
bottom?
I think this is the blueprint for other conferences to go. We need to be like the ACC. Like the ACC is leading the way on this stuff, kicking and screaming. Like I said, they did not want to do it, but they did it.
You know who led the way? The Big East in the 90s. Virginia Tech benefited from this. When Virginia Tech made they were Alliance Bowls back then, but the Sugar Bowl in 95 and the Orange Bowl in 96, they got to keep the money.
Really?
Yeah. The Big East did not split it evenly. And Virginia Tech leveraged that. And back then it was a huge deal. The revenues of your athletic department weren't nearly what they were now. Virginia Tech leveraged that into building the Merriman Center, which was, at the time, the best football facility in the country.
Need some more levels from what I hear.
Right. And so I think, definitely.
The interesting thing with the ACC now is I think this shatters the narrative around the conference that you can't compete with these other schools or achieve something big because Miami is doing it. They got the right quarterback. They got the right pieces around it. They invested in NIL, and they've made this run. I mean, it used to be Florida State's like, we can't compete with schools in the SEC if we don't have that kind of money. It's like, well, you can find that kind of money, and you can earn that kind of money in the ACC, and perhaps the path isn't as grueling to get there. So I think it was sort of, everybody thought it was a foregone conclusion. This is, the ACC has a ticking clock on it. The buyout that goes down year by year, eventually it's going to get to a point where these schools will just say, we're leaving, we're going to the Big Ten, we're going to the SEC when the invitation is there. I wonder if they take a look at this now and go, do we have to? Could we stay in the ACC and still be successful and still make a good amount of money? I would imagine when you add this, 24, 32 million, whatever it is to Miami, they're going to look great compared to some of these SEC schools financially, at least on par with it. Is this the thing that sort of unwittingly saves the ACC?
Could be.
It is the thing though that eventually, long term, the Big East couldn't stay together. And I feel like it's really hard. It's going to make the league unbalanced, right? Once you get into that money and you have that advantage, you have to really screw it up to let it go. So if Miami getting there this year, if they can leverage that into getting there again next year, it's sort of like in soccer. If you make the Champions League and you get Champions League money, you're always going to have an advantage year after year after year over the other Premier League teams and things like that. Ultimately, that's one of the things that pulled the Big East apart. Although Virginia Tech was able to leverage that into growth of its own program, which then allowed them to jump to the ACC. So there's a number of different ways this could go.
Yeah, I think you look at it and you go, it's going to tear the league apart. It's like, Boston College and schools like that aren't going to like it. It's like, well, where's Boston College going to go?
Right.
Where's Wake Forest going to go? What are these schools going to end up? if it's not within the ACC.
Well,
I think they understand that if the ACC falls apart, they're in a much worse situation.
Apparently, Boston College wasn't even fully funded revenue sharing last year because they just announced several weeks ago that they're going to be fully funded this coming year.
It showed.
It did show. What are they good in? Like hockey? That's not even ACC affiliated.
Yeah,
they're not getting football. They're not getting basketball. They're certainly not getting women's basketball. They're not getting baseball and softball. Lacrosse, they're good in lacrosse.
But we got the Boston TV market.
That's true.
Yeah.
Chowder. Also, like a couple of years ago, it was, I think it was for a mailbag or something like that. I wrote something like, how would you set up college football? And I'm like, I do it like the soccer leagues. I don't really like soccer, but I'm fascinated by the setup of the leagues with the promotion, the relegation and stuff like that. And this was before NIL like really took off. And one guy took exception to my thing. It's like, it's not even remotely like those leagues. It's like, if you win in those leagues, you get a payroll and then you reinvest that on the roster, and colleges aren't like that and they don't do that. And now a couple of years later, it's like, that's exactly what colleges are like. This is a payroll. There is turnover year after year. Rosters are completely flipped like that. You can reinvest that into your program and into future rosters. So I don't think we'll ever get to a system of promotion relegation, but I'd be fascinated by it. I think it'd be perfect for college because the schools that invest, the schools that are good should be rewarded, and the ones that aren't shouldn't get a free ride carried by the rest of their conference.
I always thought like it would be awesome if Major League Baseball went to a similar format. Let's say they expanded Major League Baseball to 40. And your top 20 are in the first division, and your top 20 are in the
Durham Bulls are playing in the Major League
Bulls.
Exactly.
Yeah, they'd have to redo all the affiliates and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And as a fan of the Minnesota Twins, a team that is not really inclined to pay for stuff, I don't know if I like that too much.
Spirited conversation. I love it. It's funny. To be honest, I had prepped for pretty much the first half of the podcast because it was going to be a video. And then during the break, I'm like, do you guys have anything else you want to talk about? And Andy's like, let's talk about the national title game. And now we're figuring out the future of college football.
That's right.
Awesome.
That's right.
All we have to
it's
do
all
is
been decided, right?
All we have to do is get
awesome.
around the legal obstacles of unionizing and labor markets and all that stuff. And sort of the fly in the ointment of this whole thing.
Of course, the last time you made a brilliant suggestion, it got adopted for a year.
His semifinal thing should be adopted too in the ACC.
They should, if they're smart.
Should do that.
Idea's still out there. You can still cut that check to me, and I'll give it to you. The idea is free.
That's awesome. What's coming up on TechSideline.com?
I'm going to write an article on Grunkemeyer. I'm going to do a Q&A for tomorrow. The Grunkemeyer article, I don't know if I'll have time to write it as I originally intended it because it's already 11:30 right now, and it was going to be kind of big with a lot of videos.
Oh, geez, I'm sorry. We went long.
We did, but that's all right. Well,
that's all right. The Virginia Tech basketball story can carry the day on Tech Sideline.
Yeah, of course. Well, I think maybe what I'll do is do a mini one today, something smaller, and then something bigger in the future. But look for something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to write. I'm still waiting to interview some folks at Virginia Tech if they ever let us do that, and maybe I'll formalize some of these thoughts on the ACC into a column or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, you should. David Cunningham's still in Dallas. He's got SMU on the women's side tonight.
I think he's back in the airport, isn't he?
No, he's staying for the women's game.
Oh, that's right.
So he's flying back tomorrow, and he's going straight to Substation 2, which I've already been to twice in 2 days. What about you, Nick? You got anything?
I might go to Substation right now after this podcast.
Are we going after this? I thought we were going after this.
I can make it 3 in 3 days. There's nothing wrong with it.
There's no limit here, guys.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Like Hamid's not going to turn you away at the door and say, no, you've been here too much these first couple days.
So the interns are going to be coming back this weekend, which is great. Carter, we love you, but we're running you into the ground. Like you need to get away and go on a vacation. You're going to the beach, right?
For a couple of days when I get my car back. It's in the shop right now. And then I got jury duty. So
well,
it's a TSL tradition, jury duty.
That's going to get pushed back like 4 more times. So don't schedule your life around it.
Next week we'll have a bunch of videos. Talk with Teal will continue. We're going to break off basketball to its own show every Tuesday. Once the interns come back again, just to have its own little thing. And then we'll have on Monday our big portal recap. Going over everybody and everything, and hopefully that goes well. And I promise there will be graphics.
Nice. Best graphics in the game here at TechSideline.com. So for Andy Bitter, Chris Coleman, Nick Brown, I'm Carter Hill saying so long from episode 465 of the Tech Sideline podcast presented by Rich Webb. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you very soon.